Rosario. Players in the area.
20th Generation Revolutionary Clan, inviting people, telling stories, finding her, making poems too. Inspire, engage. Inspire, engage. This is the KLA. This is the KLA. Hi everyone, here we are with a prince. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Prince Rosalie. My name is, well, that's my screen name. That's how I'm known on the internet. My name is Rosario. I am a trans
Okay.
mask artist, and I developed my own visual novel series called Parfum Nostalgique, about a vampire and a bunch of other vampires, and he's like a vampire therapist. I won't give the whole elevator pitch here, but and that I'm a doll maker, I'm a musician, uh, and I do all of the writing, artistry, music composition, programming, and everything for my own video game series.
Oh, well, this is great. And I must say something. The name of the podcast is DKLA because it means Royal Anarchy. Many years ago, when I started writing my blog, I signed as the Queen of World Wide Web Kingdom. That's why this podcast has royal in the DNA. So we are home.
We are home. We have royalty.
uh, well, where our listeners can find you online?
You can find me at priro.pro, priro.pro. That is my website where I run most of my things, and you can find my game and all of my projects and stuff. But you can find me at the same thing, priro.pro on Instagram, and also priro_pro on Twitter.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And let's start about flowers because, well, you can see by by my accent that I'm Brazilian and I was born in Brazilian spring. It's in September. So I love flowers.
So
Roses.
flowers. Oh,
Yes.
roses. Well, yeah. Well, my I have a big thing for roses. Because I'm Rosario, but before I transitioned, my name was Rose. Well, it was more like this. I had another name. That was my first name, but everybody called me by my middle name, which was Rose. And roses were always really special to me. When I was a baby, I had like something wrong with me or something, and my mom put rosary beads underneath my mattress, and apparently the better or something. You see, I'm not like religious or anything, but I think that that was a really funny thing to happen, like a very like telling and funny occurrence to happen. And I remember like our church was really like in a buzz about it. And so I've always been like connected to roses since I was a little kid. And then once I like I grew up, I really I got into a lot of like 70s shoujo manga. I love Rosa Versailles, Lady Oscar. I have her tattooed on my arm. But uh, I I love me some roses and glitter. And so I'm always very connected to that. And all my characters have their own favorite flowers, and I always have to associate flower. I have to put flowers on everything. I have to do it because it just makes like you put you put flowers on a table, it makes the table look better. It looks makes your whole house look better. If I could put flowers on anything and make it look better, then that sounds
This is
like
so true.
an easy way to
uh,
create happiness in my life.
this is beautiful. I need to say because I agree with you. Everything gets better when
Mhm.
you see some roses, some gardens. I even made an episode called Secret Garden. Actually, is in French, Mon Jardin Secret. And uh, I don't talk directly about gardens, but about the hidden pleasures and platonic loves. So, how this concept of roses intertwine with the exploration of platonic love and the concept of hidden pleasures in your creative work.
Hmm. So platonic love and hidden pleasures. Well, okay. So in my work is often misconstrued as like a very like erotic romance type of a story.
Yes.
But most of the themes that are in it are very much about like platonic love, unconditional love. Like as I started writing my work, I made a lot of friends. I made a lot of friends that I cherish very much. Um, and I have a husband, so like, and I've known my husband since I'm like 11 years old, and so it's not that I'm not into romance or whatever, but it's just like I'm in a very comfortable relationship where thrill of romance and things like that it doesn't really phase me anymore, because I'm so comfortable in my relationship, and so platonic love is something that is a little bit more uh, special to me that I experience as something new again and again. And so I feel like roses are always associated with romance and like passion and everything. But like we always associate that type of passion uh, with like eroticism and everything. But so the veneer of my work is that uh, my uh, my characters are they dress very promiscuously. There's a lot of like themes there. Uh,
Mhm.
but when you actually get into it, you get things like characters. One of them is like is dying of a terminal illness. Talking about hospice with his best friend, who's the only one who's going to take care of him, and like uh, just themes of people caring about each other on levels that we're not usually used to in friendships. And that juxtaposed with like my very uh, flowery sort of appearance of what I make is how I connect that with it's a hidden beauty and platonic love. Yes.
Well, that's great. When I started drawing digitally, I had
Mm,
to do a work uh, about a manga I loved, and you were you were talking about roses, and it reminded me a manga I read a lot when I was a teenager. It's called X 1999. I don't know if you know this one. It's by Clump Studio. They always
I
put
don't know it.
many characters with petals of roses and cherry blossoms,
Mhm.
and I think it gets so beautiful. Every story, it always has many rose petals, many many cherry blossoms, and I just feel the perfume while looking. It seems to
Yeah,
be uh, a very poetic scene. And when you are talking about flowers and roses, it came to my mind.
it's
But
mhm.
it's that's the beauty of flowers. We always get uh, delved by the romance and everything everything else it has. Well, the next question is about your morning routine. I know this question is a bit I don't know uh, motivational, but it's not the case here. I just want to see what what's your mindset every time you wake up.
Okay, so I am disabled. I have autism and I have a bunch of other chronic pain things that I won't get into, but so when I wake up, like it's a struggle to get up a lot. But I don't have a bad mindset. I have like physical like pain and different ailments that hit me. Like right now I have an eye condition and I there's a lot of stuff that goes on with me. So I have to wake up with the idea that I am going to have to work at my own pace. And so when I get up, I do this thing that I refer to as defrosting myself, as if I've been in a freezer all night. And that is that I take a very warm bath and I defrost myself in the bath. And usually I do like eye compresses because I look at screens a lot and I need to combat dry eye and things like that. And so I sit in the bathtub and I put compresses on my eyes and I listen to very fast Eurobeat music, and that's how I get my energy. And I yeah, and then either I'll listen to something slow, um, uh, sometimes, like, if I really know it's gonna be a day when I just can't move, I'll listen to something slow, but if it's a day when I really gotta get up and I really gotta work on my stuff, I'm listening to Eurobeat, and I know all of the dance moves to all of the songs. So I'm in the bathtub holding a compress on my eyes, doing hand motions with my other hand. And so I don't know, I try and make it fun for myself because when you wake up and you don't know how your body's going to turn against you, um, you have to keep that in mind. You have to work at your own pace. Uh, and then I usually go into the kitchen. I eat something very leafy uh, because I know for the rest of the day, I'm going to have to, like, I know at the end of the day, I'm going to have to reward myself with something sweet. Um, and so I keep my breakfast to, I'll literally take a bag of cabbage, shredded cabbage, and just start eating it for breakfast. And so that's my morning. And then I start doing my work, whether it be drawing or coding or even just like cleaning my house at this point. And I work on my series, and that's what I do.
Oh, this is great. And you touched on a theme that's very dear to me. I'm not sure. I need to do the test with
Mhm.
the Asperger's, a little bit of autism too.
Yeah.
And I'm a routine woman. That's why my therapist gave me this diagnosis. Like I said, I still need to do the test. And
Mhm.
my morning routine is very rigid. I need to wake up and do my prayers and do my yoga and then eat, drink my green juice, and then start the day.
Green juice. Green juice. Mhm.
Oh, many people don't like to start a day like this. They just drink coffee. But I must say, if I just wake up and drink coffee, I will always feel, oh, there is something missing.
Yes. Yes, I feel similar, because I have a very bad caffeine tolerance. I love tea, like, I do, gong fu tea, like, I have a bunch of Chinese teas, but I do not drink those first thing in the morning. my body will turn against me if I have that type of caffeine in the morning. And I love the taste of coffee, but coffee does not love me. And so I wake up and I drink my green juice. I have like bottles of green juice that taste like straight up grass in my fridge. I started doing it when I was in college. I went to jazz school, and I remember going I had to walk to the train every single morning, and then take the train to a bus that would take me to my school. And I would go to the grocery store on the way and get a little bottle of green juice, and I would drink it, and it would feel like my blood cells were being filled with vitamins. That's how,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, when I drink green juice, I think uh, I'm a singer, so I have a very intimate relationship with my voice, and I always feel my throat getting better after drinking my green juice.
Mhm.
It's incredible the power of drinking some leafy greens in the
Yeah.
morning.
Mhm.
Uh, well, the let's talk a little bit more about transformations because well, when you talk about gardens, it's transformation. When you start your day with green juice and wake up with uplifting songs, it's a transformation too.
Mhm.
And transitioning from Rose to Rosario appears to have been a transformative journey imbued with personal significance and self discovery. How does this journey inform your exploration of themes in your art and persona?
Mhm. Okay. So, most of my characters are trans, in my visual novel. And I didn't make the decision to I knew I was trans before I started making my visual novel, but I didn't go on hormone therapy until I it was my work that made me go on hormone therapy. Um I remember when I was, casting my voice actors, there was, like, a lot of characters that I really wanted to voice myself, but my voice was
Mhm.
just too high, and, like Dash, my who is my, I guess, love interest character. I hate reducing him to that, but obviously I wanna explain it in a way that people can understand who have never read my work. He had the sort of voice that I really wanted to do, and my main character, Val, I really wanted to voice him myself. It would have just made things easier for me. But I found perfect voice actors for both of those characters, and all the other characters that I just wanted to do myself. I felt like, like wow, like their voices were so perfect. And I got to voice a character, but it was sort of someone who I adjusted to fit my voice a little bit more. And I love that character, and I still voice her and everything. I just remember one day going to my mom and showing her a bunch of like clips from my voice actors because she was very excited. This was like it's my first like huge project that I'm doing on my own. Like I learned how to draw and how to do music and how to write and everything in separate places, but this is like the first huge project that I'm really putting it
Mhm.
together on my own. And so my mom was really excited to hear those voices, and I remember driving home after showing her all the voice clips and then hearing Depeche Mode on the radio, and Dave Gann has the most beautiful, beautiful voice. I got home and I broke down crying on my husband, and I was like, I need to I need to change some stuff. I have gender dysphoria. I have to address that. And I was afraid to change my voice because I am a singer, but I knew that I wasn't happy with my voice, and that I if it wasn't just my voice, it's like I wasn't happy with other things that had to do with me. And that all stemmed from my gender dysphoria. And when I actually like sat back and looked at it, then uh, I was able to come to the conclusion like I really got to get on some hormone therapy. I really have to make some changes. And I just I look at my characters in this work, and I think it's so beautiful how um, when I'm older, and I don't have to think about being trans every day of my life when I'm older because I'm uh, a little bit more settled in myself. I'll be able to look back at this work and like see the transformation of myself. Like this is a project that I've been working on for like 3 years now. And the first part of it only came out a little bit over a year ago. And each part I've had to kind of rewrite as I evolve as a writer. And
Mhm.
so you can really see the transformation between like uh, being extremely I mean, I'll always be extremely vulnerable, but being extremely vulnerable and a lot like I felt a lot weaker before. But now I have a lot more confidence in myself as a writer, as a creator, and that coincides with the confidence that I was given by transitioning and like finally letting myself make changes to myself.
Oh, this is good. I really appreciate this self discovery journey. And I myself, I had the my self discovery, especially when a very shocking experience
Mhm.
happened to me. Um, I almost lost my mother 1 year and a half ago. She was walking on the street and a car passed on her and my uncle. It was terrible to me, and I had to take care of my mom. It was really hard to see uh, a very active person depending on me.
Yeah.
I've always been the considered the nerd and the shy person of my family, and I also thought, oh, why no one? And you are talking about transitioning, coming out, and I thought, oh, why don't I have no one in my life? And I I made many questions to me, and I discovered I'm ace. I'm
Enemies
Demi.
too. Yay.
I'm Demi Ace, and when I read about it, I thought, "Oh, this is me." I looked at my past, and I thought, "Oh, this is me. I'm not a failure, and there is nothing wrong with being lonely sometimes."
Mm.
And I'm feeling really comfortable talking about this to people. It's more about freeing myself
It
from
really is.
yeah, from very heavy uh, from heavy I don't know comments from people had about me, and we feel light. We start feeling like birds or even flower petals. We are talking a lot about flowers. Uh, it's really good.
Yeah, I'm also asexual, so it's like I being ace, it explained a lot of things about me. It made me more comfortable with sexuality. Once I realized like um I can like once I realized that being asexual was not just about like being repulsed with sexuality or like once I just realized um I don't know how to explain it. It's just something clicks that makes things easier about understanding yourself once you realize that you're ace. And it makes you more open as a person. Now, I know that there's a lot of people who especially like when I first came out, and even considering um, like my work has a lot of sexuality like put into it. So people don't expect me to be ace. And I'm just like, I don't know, there's something so freeing about realizing that you don't experience attraction in the same way as other people, um, that romance and sexuality are kind of in like a different place in your mind. Um, and if it's even in a place at all. Um, and so like just once you realize that it's something different about you that everyone's just going to have to deal with. There's nothing wrong with you. You have a name for it, and that's good enough. um, and it just becomes so much easier to accept yourself.
Oh, for sure. And well, I'm from a very conservative family,
Mm.
especially from my father's side, and they started attacking my parents at a certain age. When I reached 24, 25 years old, I'm not I'm not afraid to say I'm 35, and people from family started saying, "Oh, what's wrong with her? uh, is she married? Does she have a boyfriend?" And I was thinking, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Nothing. Now I have the answer. There is nothing wrong with me.
Oh, absolutely nothing wrong with you. And you are going to be able to experience so many beautiful relationships that don't have to do with romance. Like you are going to be able to build people around you who, and you probably already have, or like you just building people around you that uh feel as though you have very strong connections with them, but you don't have to define them in a way that's acceptable to them. Like, I find like being asexual, I have a lot of found family and a lot of friends, and I am married, like I do have a husband, but if I didn't have like my specific husband, like if I didn't know him since I was like 11 years old, we grew up together and we just sort of ended up together. Uh, I don't think I would. I don't think I would not be married. I would not be in the position that I am unless I met him specifically. I think I would definitely just be single, surrounded by a bunch of friends that I feel like I have good connections to. Um, I don't think that I would be married, but I'm at this position where I'm like, man, if anything ever happened to my relationship, oh, I don't think I would ever be married ever again. I don't think that that would be a part of my life,
Oh,
and there's nothing
huh.
wrong with it.
I have I had many platonic lovers. That's why I wrote about it on my blog. People, men, I had not a how to say a physical attraction, but it was really enjoyable to stay there and listen to their voice, look at their faces, and it was enjoyable to me. Nowadays I'm starting a relationship with a guy, but it's not. I'm not feeling physical attraction. It's more a special friendship, and we talk about very light issues. And it's my first time with this kind of relationship after coming out, and it's really good. Uh, I feel I feel light. I don't feel obligated to show everyone. Oh, he's my boyfriend, or oh, let's we must have a physical attraction. No, nothing like this. It's more a spiritual bond, and it's much better than uh, uh, I had to say reaching this society expectation. They still exist. Unfortunately, they still exist.
Yeah, I know. I remember even being a young teenager. I started dating my husband when I was 14 years old. We were both 14, and at that age, you always want to like. I feel like 14-year-olds always want to show off their relationships because if you're 14 and you have a boyfriend, it's like a big thing. But I remember even then, I just I never really wanted to show off my relationship. I never I I never really felt the need to show everyone I had a boyfriend, or I didn't feel like I was in a relationship to show others that I was in like me, especially even me. I was bullied as a kid. I was not a society acceptable person, especially where I lived. I was a kid with autism. Of course, I wasn't like acceptable. Uh, and it would have been really easy for me to be like, look at my boyfriend. See, I did something right. Even I can get a boyfriend. um, even I can get a boyfriend, kind of a thing. And but I just didn't. I felt too uncomfortable because I was so comfortable in my relationship. So it's a good sign, I guess, that you don't feel any sort of unnatural, like urge to posture at like I'm in a relationship, guys. Look, like
Yeah. Oh, I completely understand what you're saying because I felt the same thing. But in my case at school, I was always the weirdo because I was 2 years younger than my
Mm.
classmates, and
Oh,
no
you
one
skipped
wanted.
grades.
Yes, I have a high IQ, and
Mhm.
uh, people used it not to stay with me because well, I was the weirdest girl. I was young, and at a certain age, when I was 8, 9 years old, the other girls started dating and so on. And I had many bullies at that time, many
Mhm.
bullies. I do therapy because of this time. It doesn't seem to be something serious, but it hurted my self-esteem. I don't know if you understand, but it's really important to have a good self-esteem to live a good life, a lightweight life. You will not free yourself from problems; they will exist forever. But
Mhm.
the lighter you live, the better.
Yeah, I also I got diagnosed with PTSD because of my bullying when I went to therapy. Like when I am not currently in therapy. I'm trying to get back into therapy, because it's just something that improves your life to be able to sit down and talk to a professional like every week or every 2 weeks. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things that people really don't take like early childhood bullying especially they don't take that very seriously because they think, oh well, everybody's a kid, you just have to let it go. But kids reflect adults. Reflect the adults around them. And when you're in a situation like that, and you think back on it, you think like, there were adults that could have protected me from this type of bullying. There could have been things that we put in order to keep kids from mistreating each other. And I think about this a lot, especially if I think about kids nowadays having like it's not a ton of acceptance for each other, but more acceptance for each other than they did
Mm-hmm.
like when I was younger or when you were younger. Like I remember just being a kid who liked anime in middle school was a, a hellish experience. It was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my goodness. Uh, like they couldn't even comprehend your existence. But now if you're a kid who likes anime, it's like, get in line. Every kid likes anime.
Oh, yeah. Nowadays, this is really different. And I
Mhm,
volunteer with children. I know in a certain way, things changed a lot positively. Uh,
mhm,
and I'm really hopeful it will change even more one day. Well, you talked about manga and the 70s manga aesthetic. I really enjoyed this time. I'm watching an anime nowadays called Poliana. It was my Japanese friend
mhm,
who told me, "Oh, please watch this anime," and I I'm watching. It's really cute. It's the Pollyanna story, but in a anime version. I think you will like to.
Mm.
It's not, but this aesthetic is known by the unique visual and storytelling. There are many stories from this time. I don't know. They have they tell stories to kids. I think the horror part and the hentai, it was not so strong at
No, it wasn't.
at at that
No.
time. It was something more naive and
Yeah.
enjoy it. And how does this era influence your portrayal of platonic relationships and hidden desires in your artistic endeavors? And just to combine with the themes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I uh I I guess I could like call myself a manga scholar. I have a degree in Asian studies, and I primarily studied Japanese literature. And
Mm,
alongside Japanese literature, I also studied like 70s manga, Showa 24 group manga. So that's a subset of manga made in the 70s that uh, was written by a specific group of like leftist female authors. And so that's like Rosa Versailles, Kaze Toki no Uta. Um, why am I blanking on more? Those are like the two ones that people always like. Um, Poclan, that kind of stuff. So I really liked reading that type of manga because there was such a focus on uh, bonds between the characters, and they have this way of showing relationships, whether they are platonic or romantic, as larger than life amounts of attached and passionate. Uh, and they show it in a way. I'm trying to think. It's like I wanted to capture that sort of like aggrandized version in every single relationship that I showed within whatever I wrote because I like drama. I like drama, but I also think that when you depict like people feeling things very, very strongly, especially if you pair it with like the way that they would do it was like through depiction. It
mhm,
wasn't even as much through dialogue. It was usually like there would be flowery dialogue, but then it would be accompanied by visuals that were had a lot of glitter and flowers and even like artistic nudes and things like that. Like very even like depictions of the characters as Greek gods in long flowing garments and everything. And I wanted that to come across in the way that my characters interacted with each other because I really want people in their everyday lives to learn how to interpret their feelings in this way, to not be afraid of feeling their feelings in extremely strong ways, unapologetic ways. And so I I just I always felt like as a teenager, I would feel my feelings in this very flowery, like complex way because I was a teenager. And when you're a teenager, you have those types of feelings. That's what it feels like. For some teenagers, it's a little bit messier. They obviously will associate it with different aesthetics. And I know for me, uh, I always I remember drawing a picture of my then boyfriend, now husband, and I used references from Rosa Versailles, and it was before I even read Rosa Versailles. And I still have this picture somewhere. I find the sketchbook every so often, and I look at it
mhm.
of him drawn in this like beautiful 70s manga style. He literally just looks like some guy. He's not really that like I'm the princely one in this relationship now, but he literally looks like just some guy in real life, but I really felt that when I was a teenager. And some people don't stop feeling like that. Like some people don't stop feeling those really flowery, intense feelings. And I don't want people to feel ashamed of that when they become adults. So I like showing adults feeling these things. Like I like showing them going about their relationships with the everyday people in their lives, not just falling in love, because that's a small part of life. Um,
Mhm.
falling in romantic love, like going about all of their relationships and interactions with people and being able to show themselves in an unapologetic way. And so that's what I really liked about 70s manga.
Oh, well, I just draw. I tried to write some stories, but they are more dark humor than everything else. I just make some episodes of my life. I turn it into dark humor, and well, I published it on Instagram. It was just a little experience. But my favorite decade for manga is definitely the 90s to 90s. I don't like the most recent manga, like 2000 ahead. I don't know, because in a certain way, to me, it lost the essence,
Mhm.
and they try to become more westernized. I don't think Western culture is bad, not at all.
Mm.
But that essence of bringing some details of Japanese literature, you study it, you probably know. Uh, and even the traditional Japanese art, like the ukiyo-e prints, I'm so passionate about it.
Mhm.
I think the older decades, the earliest manga captivates this essence so much better.
Yes,
That's why I like
completely
this.
agree.
Uh,
Well, yeah. I just wanted to ask. So, um, when okay, I just lost my train of thought. Um, I just want to express that I completely agree with you there when it comes to manga. What once it gets out of like the 90s and like early 2000s, it starts to enter this like era where it's a little bit more self-aware that people in the West are consuming it. Um, and it I know the manga scene specifically still has a lot of like rebellious and very wonderful artists, but anime specifically, like anime adaptations, have definitely gone to what's most digestible for audiences and what they could capitalize on most, which is a whole rant that I could get into, but that is it's completely true. And I've like studied things on an academic level that make me prefer if I'm going to watch anime, and also if I'm going to read manga, just because I like the older stuff more. It's just how I am. It's not that I haven't given the newer stuff a chance. I have. It just it's not my thing. But especially if I'm going to watch anime, I'm always going to go back to 90s, 80s, and sometimes early 2000s, and then 70s. Obviously, I really like the 70s.
oh, yeah. And when I started drawing, I was at school, and a friend of mine, her name is Jane, uh, she taught me the art of drawing manga, and since then I couldn't stop drawing. But unfortunately, when I finished school, my parents were not sure I would be a good artist, so I had to make a choice without art in it. And I tried to study law and be a lawyer, but no, it wasn't to me. I felt a fish out of water many times.
Yeah, I worked in a law office. I didn't work in law, like I didn't go to school for law, but I worked in a law office, and there's interesting people there. I'll say that, but it's something that takes up so much of your time that like Like, it's one thing to have a job where you can also do your art. Like, that's great. Like, to have a job where you still have the energy at the end of the day to go home and make your art. That's wonderful. But when you have something that, like, like you feel like I know for me, my art gives me energy rather than takes it away. But I still have to like realize that physically it does take away my energy. And so I could never put myself through something where I couldn't do my art. I actually I had a job making so I made I had a job making anime car decals. Like
Mm-hmm.
my whole car is covered in like car decals. And when I was doing that job, I had to I was making them out of my living room. And I was like, I'm making art for my job. This is great. I should be grateful, even though I was exhausted all the time and I couldn't really take it. But it was really that I was just making things that other people wanted me to make and then manufacturing them out of my living room and sending them over. It wasn't even like art to me anymore. Even though I had to draw everything, it didn't feel like art to me anymore. And so I learned from that experience, like when I had to, I basically like permanently disabled myself with some of the things that I was doing, that I exhausted myself so much, I overworked myself so much. And I had to tell myself, like, I have to do something that is um, just it gives me room to have my own sense of artistic expression. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't have to be a job in art. It doesn't have to be. Uh, it doesn't mean I'm a failure as an artist if I'm not doing art as a job. Um, and as long as I have the means to do art and be comfortable, then that is the best way to go because I always have to be making art.
Oh, well, I'm a graphic designer nowadays. I completely agree with you. When something becomes stressful, it's not art anymore. Uh,
Yeah.
I learned this, of course, by doing. And uh, well, I try to keep my art side, my illustrator side, to competitions, and I'm also recording online course, uh, uh, a drawing course, and well, I try to keep more fluid than the graphic designer side because well, draw logos is not
Yeah.
exactly fun. It's cool, I like, but it's not so fun as drawing manga, I'm sure.
Because graphic design is all everyone wants minimalism nowadays. It's so difficult to like express things in graphic design now. Like I feel like years ago, a lot of people wanted more creative packaging and things like that for their graphic design. But now there's a lot of emphasis on minimalism and something where you can glance at it and you immediately know what it is because people's attention spans are so much smaller nowadays. Um, and it's such a skill to be able to just create a logo you can glance at, know what it is, and it's so minimalist. So it's like there's beauty in that, but also uh it doesn't leave very much room for expression.
Oh, for sure. And when you have something, when you have to follow what clients want, there is also always a
Yeah.
conflict between us. Uh, uh, there are some logos I look and think, oh, it's so ugly, but I can't do anything.
Interesting.
Well, I just need to follow what the clients want, and well, if the result doesn't please me, okay, I tried.
Mm. Yeah.
um, but well, there is a name your friends call you. I don't know if I will pronounce well. My liege.
My leash.
Yes.
My liege. Yeah.
Your friends refer to you as my liege and humor your royal persona. Yet beneath the surface lies a complex individual with multifaceted emotions and desire. How do you navigate the juxtaposition between your whimsical persona and the deeper, more nuanced aspects of your identity and experiences? Oh, I'm sorry, but nuance always reminds me paintings. Oh, and
Yeah.
well, if your life was a painting,
So, um, okay. So the thing about me is, uh, I'm a very authentic person because I don't know how to not be authentic. Um, but there's lots of aspects of me, but I don't know how to not be authentic. It's a lot of like my autism affects that is that I don't think I would ever truly be able to pretend and put on like a sort of royalty persona. But when people see you have confidence and sort of um gesture at that in a joking way, like uh me walking around in my big platform shoes and my princely outfits and everything. It's something that uh the amount of confidence I have in it, it's campy and it's kind of like self-aware and joking. And but there's some people that they don't really see it that way, and they don't have the ability to see it that way. So I'll try and articulate this. When you're a person who's like stylish or very confident, and you meet someone who isn't really, um, they might start to like project onto you, especially like being trans and everything. There's a lot of people who are like earlier in their transitions who will look at me and they will see the type of gender that I'm serving, and they'll be like, "Wow," because I'm a very feminine looking man. But even some people want to look like this. Like not all trans people want to be very far over with gender roles and everything. Um, People will look at me who are very early on in their transition and be like, "Wow, one day I will have that type of confidence," or "Wow, one day I could look that hot," or they'll think, I'll never be that hot." And I and they think this about me. This isn't me saying that I'm hot, even though I think I'm hot. I think I'm hot. I think I'm hot when I take my glasses off, but I think I'm hot when when I'm done up. But obviously, I have insecurities just like anybody else. Um, but a lot of people who they don't have that much confidence. They look at me uh, and they put me on this pedestal that doesn't really make me feel very nice. Where my sort of royalty persona is how they actually talk to me. Like they take it seriously. They'll call me my liege because they get something out of feeling subservient to me. Uh, and it's not the most comfortable position to be in. Um, but it helps me realize who I should set my boundaries with. Um, and if I have friends that are willing to who can immediately like see through this sort of like royalty dress up princely persona, um, who I can open up to very easily. Like those are my real friends. But especially when you like make video games and everything, and you have like fans that come up to you, uh, it's like I want people to be able to see me as a person, but a lot of people uh don't know how to see you as a person. They have a parasocial relationship with you. And so they end up treating you like, "Oh, you're special. You're somewhere above me." And I don't like being treated like that, but people would treat me like that whether I had a sort of persona or not. Um, and I'm bad at social cues because of my autism. And so it gives me this sort of social cue when people really start taking that seriously about me, to go, oh, okay, maybe there's a little bit more boundaries I have to set with this person. Uh, Maybe they are a little bit too comfortable putting themselves in a position under me for some sort of like self fulfillment. Um, and that's kind of how I work my persona into everything. I don't even know if I answered the question right, but
No,
yeah.
I think so. Well, my head came to my theater classes. I made some. I'm not an actress, but I always do this many times. But I made for some years because uh, I'm really shy. If I don't know if you believe in Myers Briggs, but they call me INFJ.
Oh,
in
I'm INFJ.
Oh,
I'm
see,
INFJ, INFP. Yeah.
but uh, well, this makes me really hard to please. I'm really hard to please, and I was also really authentic. I think that's why my therapist told me I'm probably autist because
Mm.
I was always I was always authentic, and if I don't like someone, I will not hide. Oh, you are a nice person, or if I don't like someone, I'll just show in my face. It will be crystal clear. I don't like you, and there is nothing you can do that will revert the situation. It put me into trouble many times, but I feel much better being honest to myself and the other person than trying to please someone I don't like.
Mhm.
And well, in theater, I thought I would be one of those people who put a mask and try to be a people pleaser. And I was surprised. I didn't need to be a people pleaser. Actually, I needed to show the real me. And well, I felt so uh, so great when doing some exercise to free my body because we need to do many body exercises. And well, I remember I had to wear only black because it's like you are naked to receive the character. And it was a great time to incorporate other people and still be yourself. It's, I think it's the lesson I learned when studying theater, and I loved it.
Yeah, I love theater. I miss theater. I haven't been able to do theater because I'm immunocompromised, and the United States is not good about COVID. They're like, oh, well, I know the world is kind of like, well, COVID's over, but when you're disabled and immunocompromised, it's like, no, it's not over. I have to keep being careful, and so I haven't been able to go back to live performance, and I miss it so much. Uh, but I guess I've been able to, like, supplement for my desires to perform. I remember my therapist told me, when I first started making my visual novel, she's like, "Well, you can't do theater, so, you take these characters and you make them perform for you. Like, you take them like they're paper dolls, and you make them perform." Uh, and, visual novels are kind of, like, written like well, at least mine is, it's written like a play, and it's almost like watching a play, and so I was like, you're right about that," and I get to perform as Toulouse, my character that I voice, and I get to write these scripts and do these performances, and I basically get to do theater from, just sitting in my house. I mean, I definitely want to, uh, go and do theater in person again, uh, but I remember, like, just, my therapist telling me that I'm basically just doing theater all the time.
Well, we are we are talking about many turns life gives on us. We are very similar people, and it's really surprising. Oh, if we lived at the same place, I would certainly be your friend.
I would be your
But
friend too.
yes, well, if your life could take a radical turn, what would that be?
Um,
Well, not a radical turn.
yeah, I think a lot. It takes a lot of radical turns. Honestly, I would move to Japan for a little bit. I've been wanting to do that like for a while. I remember being in Japan and like it's one of the places that I wouldn't want to live for the rest of my life because there's a lot of issues. I've studied enough of Japan that I know that expressing myself as I am there isn't really gonna fly as much, and, uh, I I mean, the time that I have spent being in Japan, I enjoyed a lot, but that has a lot to do with being a foreigner in a place like that, um, and so I would like to at least move to Japan for a little bit of my life to just, uh experience it again. Like I remember I spent so much of my life like studying Japan that um I mean, okay, so I became an Asian studies major because I wanted to help do preservation work for old Takarazuka theater, which is like an all women's theater troupe in Japan. Um and I wanted to do preservation work and like start like preserving all of the stuff that maybe the company doesn't care about anymore. Like that theater company is not the best at preserving their work, so I want to take the stuff that they have from the 50s, the 60s, and 70s, and start putting subtitles on it, start finding the videos, and start making them accessible to people. Um, but that would not put me in the good graces of that theater company, and I would run into a lot of legal trouble if I were to go through with that. But I spent a lot of time being familiar with Japan and studying Japan to the point where when I went there, I knew my way around the trains. I knew my way around everywhere. It felt like everything was familiar and it was very creepy because I thought I was going to have to go there and
uh,
experience like, "Oh, it's not that great." Like, because a lot of foreigners experience that. And you know what? It was a regular place, of course. It was just a regular place where people live, but it was very eerie how familiar it was to me, and I didn't have enough time in, like, my short, like, month-long time there to like fully grasp that. Like I remember going to a store that had pretty much every article. It was a store I had bought a lot of things from in high school when I was first getting into Japanese fashion, and their stock hadn't changed. So there I was across the world looking at my wardrobe that I had in high school. It scared me. And so to have my life like take a radical change, um, I crave familiarity because I have a lot of radical changes, and so that would be as radical a change I could get, but
mm,
it's a change toward, like, another type of familiarity. So that's what I would like, for something to just transport me there and I'd be forced to live there for a little bit.
well, the place I want to live is Jupiter. Many people, but why Jupiter? And
Why
I
Jupiter? Yeah.
and I told yeah, and it's a it's a big planet with one of the Jupiter moons is considered had we can habit in it.
Mhm.
It has water, and they suppose it has intelligent life there. I don't know if this is true. And secondly, the days outside Earth are a bit longer, depending on how how far from the sun they are, and years are also longer. So I would stay there for a few years and come back to Earth and stay the same when I left. Well, it's a crazy dream, I think, but Japan is one of the places I'd love to visit. I told you one of my best friends nowadays is Japanese. She's from Osaka, and we are always changing pictures
Mhm.
and cultural cultural details from our countries. And I told her when I visit Japan, I will go with an empty bag because I've spent a lot in nice, in bling stuff and fancy clothes. Well, and our body type, my body type is really similar to other Asian women. I think I would make a party, a little personal party in Japan. It's one of the places I want to visit the most for sure.
Yeah, I brought an empty bag when I went to Japan for that exact reason. And actually, yeah, like part of the reason I got into Japanese fashion was because my body, I'm pretty small, and I'm small enough that a lot of times clothes in the United States just like don't fit my body proportions. And so when I started actually like getting clothes from Japan, I was like, oh my God, these fit me. These clothes actually fit me. And so um, I like pretty much all my clothes are from Japan at this point, because I've had a lot of years to like build them up, and I get them from like thrift stores, like street fashion thrift stores in Harajuku and everything that have their stuff online. And so, yeah, I built up my wardrobe, but yeah, I also I have a lot of friends like that are in other countries, and we're constantly sending each other like cultural details. Like my friend in Greece, I'm always sending him everything, and because I have like friends in different places, um, I end up taking pictures of things in my everyday life that I normally wouldn't take pictures of, or taking notice to things in my everyday life that I wouldn't take notice of. Because I want to ask them, "Oh, do you have this here? Do you have this here?" And I go on. I have like a Discord server full of friends, and they all tell me like whether they have this specific snack there, or they'll give me their equivalents to whatever they have there. And it's super fun. I love having friends in different parts of the world.
Oh, me too. I always learn something. Well, I take part of many international groups,
Mm.
and I always learn something different from other parts. And also come to the conclusion that we are all humans, and we must. When we have friends from many parts of the world, we keep our minds open, and it's
Mhm.
fundamental. It's not only good, but fundamental to live a better life, to be a kind person.
Mhm.
uh, well, I'm looking here, and our conversation is great, great, but we are in our last questions, unfortunately. Well, one of our last questions from this round is about the one of the themes you chose, an immortal body of glass. It was about a fascin. I when I wrote this theme, it was about a fascination with future possibilities and the exploration of new horizons. How does this theme intersect with your arts, emotions, and experiences and even storytelling?
So I actually chose Immortal Body of Glass because I mean, my main character is a vampire and I write vampires. But I specifically I when I was growing up I wasn't into vampires and I was never really into vampires. I just wanted to write someone who was immortal. And also it was very it was something that I could like vampires were an immortal creature that kind of vibed with my aesthetics and everything. But I wanted to make something like that was really human. Like my vampires are kind of boring. Like
Mhm.
they're not so much like they don't have super strength or super speed or other things that people like ascribe to vampires. Um, uh, like nothing ridiculously supernatural. It's more like the burden of immortality is like what is the biggest part of them, and uh, it's one of the biggest things that I noted about vampires is that uh, they are immortal, but they have the decision to end their lives really at any time. They could just walk out into the sun. Like they have the decision, they can make a decision to end their lives. And so they have an immortal body of glass. Like they are more fragile than we actually give them credit for. Um and so that's why I like chose that. And I think that if we think of like if we think of being a human being and like we ascribe like different properties to people being indestructible emotionally,
Mhm.
like because I don't know what it's like to be indestructible physically. I would love to know that. As a chronically ill person, I would love to. But uh I have had lots of experiences with people who are young and old where um it's just like uh they will never be indestructible no matter how many experiences they have, no matter how much strength they build up from trauma, they're always learning. Um and there's never really like I've never met um like elderly people who I felt were so wise and knew everything and that nothing could touch them and they were sort of indestructible emotionally. And so I wanted to make some uh very, very emotionally vulnerable but immortal human beings where you could get a more realistic idea of what it would be like. What would your personality be like after you've learned so much from living so long? Um, and that the pursuit of becoming indestructible it's futile. You can never become indestructible.
For sure. It's a myth to become immortal and indestructible. But well, it's a curiosity. How how could we be if we were more immortals? And well, when I think about fragility, I think about vases, the porcelain vases from ancient China. I think it's a very delicate kind of art. And I also think about the dolls. I don't have dolls at home nowadays because I think they are scary, but some of them are so delicate and they are so small. It's as anything you do can break them. Well, we are not like that dolls, but yeah, indeed, we are not indestructible. Um, Looking ahead, what are your aspirations for your art and persona, particularly in relation to the themes of love, romance, and the exploration of future possibilities? How do you envision continuing to evolve and expand upon these themes in your creative endeavors?
Okay. I think how I want things to evolve is I want my work to continue to have an authentic sense of empathy. I think that what I would like to be, I get praised a lot on like, oh, your art is beautiful and what you make is really pretty and everything, but I would like for more of that empathy in my work to be recognized and more of like what's really behind like I want people to pay my work more mind on on a deeper level um uh and I also though I want to be happy with however my art is perceived. Like I want to be happy if nobody reads anything that I write. I want to still be able to keep making and doing something that makes me happy, even if nobody is going to see it. And I know that my work is still going to expand, but I just always I I can't um like base everything off of external approval and everything, obviously. Um but it's like I have to I want to be able to um look at my work and be happy with it and be proud of it. Um but still have that even if nobody sees it. Um and I also just I want to keep making friends because of my art. I want to keep building relationships with other people because of my art, and being able to share my art with others in a way that makes them want to share what they're making with me, and makes them want to like makes them feel motivated to make art themselves. Like I want to inspire more people to throw everything away when it comes to like just throw everything away and start a project. Not everything away, obviously, but it's like really, really entrench themselves in a large project without feeling intimidated by it and feeling scared. Like I just want to keep inspiring other people, but not in the way that like a celebrity would. More like I want to work with people. I want to be their friends. I want to know people on a personal level, and I want it to help me um, forge relationships with people and like create a good environment around me. So yeah.
Okay, this is a great a great mindset. I think when I started doing my blog, and even this podcast 9 years ago, I thought, oh, no one will listen to this, no one will read to this. It's not well written. It's not. But I'll do this anyway because I don't want to keep everything closed in my own world. I want to share to real people. And well, in my podcast, I was surprised when I saw the number of plays in some episodes. The total number of plays still surprises me, and it's really great. But I think I keep the same mindset. No one will watch this. No one will read this. Just do. And after some years without blogging, I returned on Medium. The name of my blog is Crazy Rice Mishap Cake Delight. But it's I play the role. It's a very polemical role I play. I know of a housewife, but not because I like the traditional values. I just like the aesthetic. And well, I grew up with two housewives, my mother and my great grandmother. Both were housewives, and I saw how hard was their life and how their life was not recognized by anyone. A housewife work maybe is the most important one,
Mhm.
and no one recognizes. I think it's a way of showing gratitude to them.
Yeah, because everybody needs the skills that housewives have. Like housewives are doing so much because you're learning all these skills like cooking and gardening and all these things that are like these are dying skills nowadays. Most people just kind of think of them as hobbies because they can buy their food easily frozen already and like get all their vegetables from the store so people aren't like learning how to garden as much and like cleaning it's there's oh my goodness. It's just there's so many like life skills that I feel like people aren't learning as much that are sort of seen as like this is what housewives do. Uh and the the amount of skills that you have to be a housewife. Um it's amazing. And so I completely get what you mean. Like it's like these are life skills that everyone can benefit from, and uh, housewives sort of have this like it's like witchery. It's like
Yeah.
witchery. Yeah.
Um, well, and uh, the second to last question is, I think this one. Okay, can you tell us one thing about your one thing about yourself that most people aren't aware of?
Hmm.
I think your life is an open book, and it.
Yeah, it kind of is. Um, hmm. Maybe wow. I'm like I'm trying to think of something that my life is oh actually, you know what? I'll say it. In high school, uh I played the mascot. I was the mascot in high school, my senior year because so I wore like this our mascot was like the Cougars, and I put on the Cougar suit. And we only broke out the mascot like a few times a year. But whenever they did, they asked me to come back and do it instead of getting other people to put on the suit. Um, and I remember knowing all of these like niche like para dances, and I would like do them in the cougar suit, and everyone would be like, "Why is that cougar so short? What are you doing?" Like, so I feel like if you look at me, you wouldn't expect me to be wearing a cougar suit. And so whenever I think of like what's the most out of character thing I've ever done, I think of that, and that's one of those stories where if people don't know me, or actually, if people do know me very well, they could know me for years and not know that story until I bring it up. Um, and the whole reason I did it was they on the high school announcements they made this announcement that they needed a mascot, and I looked at my friend and I was like, "Wouldn't it be funny if I went down there and became the mascot?" And she was like, "Oh my god, that would be so funny!" And then I did it. I was walking to the gym office like, "What am I doing? Am I trying to impress a girl right now?" So that's, like, one thing about me that I feel like people don't know, is that I was the mascot in high school, and, I I did that, yeah.
Well,
One
it's
really
a
entertaining
very
thing.
a very funny story.
Yeah.
I would never imagine you were a cougar in your past. Well, and the last one, who are the most influential people in your life?
Wow. I mean, like, my parents are pretty big influences on me. Uh, do with that information what you will. My husband is uh an extremely influential person to me because I feel like we're on this wavelength where we don't even speak English to each other anymore. We can communicate in like vague noises and just words that we've made up. And when our friends are around us, then uh, we have this. It's like they don't even know what we're saying. We have to like translate for them. And so he's the one who I bounce all my ideas off of because he's so different from me. And he'll tell me when things are a good or a bad idea, and he'll even give me some, like, pretty crazy ones. He's kind of like a chaotic human being, and also, I mean, people who have influence on my life are mostly, like I have a lot of, honestly, it's my internet friends because I just moved to a new place, and I don't so pretty much all my friends are my internet friends now. Like that's the way I have touch with them. And so me hanging out with people, like I wouldn't go to a club or anything anyway, but um it's like every Friday night or like during the week we're just like sitting down on a voice call, hanging out with each other, and those are the people who I spend the most time with. So, like my friends from all over the world. we just get together a few times a week, and it's a small group of people, but I'm like so incredibly grateful for all of them, and I trust them with my life. And whenever I get to meet with them in person, the few times that I get to, um, those are the happiest days of my life.
Oh, this is great. Oh, I asked to almost all my guests the same question, and they give the same answer. Family is everything. I'm not an like I told you, like, I'm not an easy person, but well, it's really incredible how they have this power over us. And I told this story in many other episodes. I'll tell one more time. When I started studying theater, one of the teachers uh, invited us to imagine ourselves as trees, and each branch is a family member, a friend, a special person that passed by our lives. Well, in my case, I have many teachers. I was always the teacher's pet, and even some good friends, and they make us what we are. So it's completely understandable to have family as our most influential people.
Mm.
Well, and uh, uh, my favorite place to hang out nowadays is coffee shops. Every time I travel somewhere, I go to coffee shops. I love to stay there, eat cake, drink coffee, a cappuccino normally, and well, see other people or read a good book. It's my favorite hangout uh, ever. And well, the bonus question, the last question is DKLA stores are always open to you. Would you come back if you could?
Yeah, I've had a really fun time.
Oh, that's great to hear. And do you have a final message to our listeners?
Uh, uh, Trans rights. Trans rights. Okay. That's about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all. Short and
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much for giving me your time and sharing your uh, chaotic story with me. I'm
Thank you.
also a chaotic woman, so